What's going on, friends and family? Thank you guys so much for tuning into Every Day is a Saturday with your host, me, myself, and I, Brian Roof. Hey, guys, we got another great day, another great episode. My next guest served her country proud in the U.S. Navy, is the writer of the Veteran Workbook, and has a support group for younger veterans and transitioning service members called the Millennial Veteran. Let's meet Jenna Carlton. If I can get her on. Hey, what's going on, Jenna?
Hey, Brian. Happy to be here. How are you today?
Hey, can't complain. If I did, I don't think too many care about it. So it's a great day. I mean, we're out here breathing and got the kids off to school, so can't complain. Like I said, but let's get to know about Jenna. Let's get to know all about you, where you grew up, what got you to join the U.S. Navy, and what you got going on today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm from the smallest town in Wisconsin, Niagara, Wisconsin. I graduated with 36 kids. Uh, yeah, super small town. And it was elementary through high school. So I went to the same building my entire school career. and that,
Wow.
and that, yeah, yes. And so it was kind of my reason for joining. I wanted to get out of Wisconsin. I wanted to see the world and I wanted to meet people from all over. And that's exactly what I got to do.
Right. So, like, I mean, going from a small town and going into the Navy, which the Navy can, travel all over the place, and then you're with a lot of people. That had to be definitely a different transition for yourself. I mean, and were you a shy person or were you more outgoing?
Yeah, I was more outgoing person. I like to talk a lot. I think that was one of the things I was voted for in high school was loudest. And so that was fun for me, it was really exciting to meet people from other backgrounds because I'm so far up north in Wisconsin. It's, people that have been living there for years or came down from Canada. So it was fun to just meet so many different backgrounds and people and why they joined and stuff like that.
So, like, when you guys are just like going out and about, it's just like, hey, Paul, hey, how you doing, Susan? Like it's just, that's how it is. Kind of when you guys are walking around, like get in trouble at school, the whole town knows what you did at school.
And my mom was a teacher, so
Oh,
guaranteed it was talked about in the teacher's lounge.
ooh. Yeah, I bet, man. Gosh, that's crazy. So let's talk more about your the Navy and what you ended up doing in the Navy, and how long you served and all that stuff. And when did you actually serve?
I joined in 2013 and I wanted to go into Intel initially and then I got into some trouble. I couldn't do the whole 6-year contract and I got bumped down to a 4-year contract, which was a blessing in disguise because I got to do weather, which was pretty cool. And also I only was in for 4 years. And so I did weather, and it's cool because you're not stationed on a ship. You know how a lot of people get stationed on ships. I was actually sea duty, but I got to float around. So wherever they needed people, they would pull us on ships. So I got to go on a few different ships. I got to go on an aircraft carrier. I got to go on an LHD. I got to go on a hospital ship. So it was cool to see all the different sides of the Navy by doing that. It was a cool rate.
Yeah, I gotta say, the ships are something else. Like they're like towns within themselves. The only one that I was personally on was the Pearl Harbor, and it was just crazy how big it is. But like we were only allowed to go on certain decks. Like I think for the Marines it was red, and we could only go on anywhere that the decks were red, or actually I think green because that was like the neutral area. I think the Chow Hall they considered um, green, and there's certain green areas. But if it was blue, they're like you don't even step foot on that. You know what I mean? We got lost time on a ship and ended up on accident in the girls' birthing area, and we just, oh my god, turned around and ran, and we were just like, and my buddy ended up hitting his head running through the ship. You know how the lips are so small and you got to duck down.
Yep.
Ended
Oh
up hitting
yeah.
his head, busting it open, and we ended up having to go to sick call for this fool and go get him stitches. Oh man,
Mm.
yeah, you could get lost on those ships real quick. And they told us, we're all trying to go out to like the smoke deck or whatever outside to where everybody's outside, and just got lost. And we're just like, oh my gosh, it was like frightening because they were just looking at us, and everybody was like, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of when the Marines were on.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, I know. We're probably not the best guest.
I remember someone telling me that they would just put signs up, like line starts here, and all of a sudden Marines would start lining up because that's all you guys would do on ships is just either wait in the chow line, wait in line for showers, or wait in line to get in the berthing or the library.
So accurate. I'm not even gonna lie. That's so accurate. Because the chow hall for sure. Everybody was just like trying to get there super early.
Yep, yeah, clogging all the lines, and meanwhile, because you guys don't really have a job, well, most of you are
I
just being
know.
transported, so
Yeah.
you don't have a job on the ship, and all of us, hardworking sailors, we're trying to eat and go back real quick, and then we just get in line, and it's all the way up to the O2 or whatever. Yeah, I'd get pissed.
Yeah, I know. I know we do piss the Navy off a lot. So, especially on their ships, you know what I mean? Like, and I know the rules are super strict too on there. You know what I mean? Like by whoever's running the ship. It's just so I know when I was on that our sergeant was super adamant about us being respectful and not acting a fool like some of the other units were. You know what I mean? And I love my grunt brothers, but those guys they can be barbaric as hell. You know what I mean? And they can just be savages and just be crazy with and not care. But yeah, support units they expect a lot more out of us in that sense.
Yeah,
For
and
sure.
and you guys just get bored, I can't blame them. When you're not doing there's not much to do on a ship besides work out, watch
It,
movies. I
it's
don't know.
honestly weird though how hungry you get when you're on a ship. And I don't know if it's because like I'll tell you, as soon as we lost sight of land, they had us go down. They had us go down below and get in formation. Well, dudes just were, started like losing it, and then I was like living on Dramamine, but I felt like it was making me hungry. Or I don't know if it was just me being out there
Mm.
and wanted to eat, but that ship made me hungry.
Yeah, I wonder if there is something. I mean, and also because you can't just go and make yourself something. I guess you can if you have a microwave and you wanna eat something from the ship store, but it's like you have to eat during lunch or you're not gonna eat. So that's what actually I gained, like, 15 pounds in boot camp because of that. I was not used to eating that often and that frequent, and I was just like, "Alright, I gotta eat," so it's there.
It is definitely on your mind and on your sight when you're on there. It's all about the chow. Like everything works around the chow time.
Yes,
But
yes, for sure.
so let's talk about your job and being doing the weather and stuff like that. That had to be kind of interesting. And where were you at were you in San Diego or on the East Coast?
I was on the
Or
East Coast, so I was out
North
in
Coast?
Norfolk, and I did my deployment on a carrier, so we got to go up. I was on the island up there, and that's where our office was, so I could always look outside and see what was going on because some jobs down there they don't see daylight at all. So it was nice for me. I got put on night shift a lot because I guess I was talking too much during the day and I was a distraction. So they keep me away at night up in the tower. and I had to go outside every hour to report the temperature, to report the sky conditions, and just take temperature reading. We needed to record all that data, and I did a lot of briefing pilots on what the level the clouds were at to see if they could fly, and they would always argue with me saying, "It's good, we can fly, clear us," and I'm like, "We can't do that, sir, ma'am. You just gotta wait."
Yeah. I know that always goes over so well with officers too when you tell them something they can't do.
Exactly, they did not like that, especially I think I was at E4 at the time, they didn't wanna hear it from me.
Right. So, do you find yourself today like looking up in the sky and like doing weather stuff like back in the day, or you kind of over that part? Like telling your kids like, "Well, today it looks like it's gonna be partly cloudy and it's currently 68 degrees with a."
Yeah, I lost a lot of the knowledge I had about weather, but that is funny you bring up my kids because they will, like, ask me, "Is it about to thunderstorm?" Or they're really interested in tornadoes, and so that's kinda gotten me, like, thinking about it more and looking at the sky conditions and explaining the different types of clouds, but yeah, I didn't end up going into, like, a career field with weather or anything. I was kinda over it.
Yeah,
It
I
gets a
bet.
little it gets a little too technical after, if I would've served, another contract, I would've had to go to almost get my bachelor's degree equivalent in meteorology, so
Uh, yeah, maybe not. Yeah. Now, did you guys deal with like hurricanes and stuff like that out, and all that stuff? Because you guys were on the East Coast, so I know there's a lot more, chances of that kind of stuff happening.
Yes, yeah, so there was the shore duty was a watch floor, and they were always keeping track of the hurricanes, and, the year before I got out, there was a hurricane that hit Haiti, and that's when I got to go on the hospital ship, and I got to, we were right outside Haiti, and it was crazy seas. It was like 10-foot swells, and it's a flat bottom ship. So that ship was just rocking. I remember I was working again at night by myself, being so scared that some cabinets were gonna fall over on me. But that was the most extreme weather that I saw.
Wow. Yeah. I know, being out on a ship, even one of those big ships, you could still feel pretty good out there. I remember um we were just off of the coast of San Diego and they even had straps on the beds and stuff, but at night you could just hear the freaking tables and then and if you didn't strap everything down, and of course dudes left like the tables and the damn chairs, and then and whoever's on the bottom bunk get up and go strap those up. You know what I mean? Like, but you could just hear them slamming. It gets pretty. I mean, sideways on those ships.
What type of ship was that?
Well, it was a Pearl Harbor. Feel like it was kind of because what we did too is we launched LCACs out of the back of it,
Okay, so some kind of,
like carrier kind of like I felt like.
was it a LHD? I don't know, I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure either, but yeah, we like part of what we did is we did an amphibious landing. So we did the
Yeah.
like launched the LCACs out, and then we had to go. They launched us onto San Diego, and then we just set up like a whole rear area support thing and all that. But
Oh, cool.
yeah, it was like it was called Colonel Blitz. It was a whole exercise that we did with the Navy, and
Ah,
so kind of like a simulation, which is actually was kind of really good for us since we ended up deploying like a year later because I was in from 2000 2004, so I went over in 2003 to the Middle East. So we
oh,
just
on that ship?
no, we ended up we literally just were doing this exercise, got done with it, and then everything popped off with the Middle East. So it was kind of like it was crazy all
Wow.
the exercise that we kind of went through right before we did that. So it's kind of good training, good exercise.
Yes, yeah,
But
always
yeah, those
be prepared.
no kidding. I didn't, when I joined, I had no clue we'd be, deploying, so because year 2000, nothing was
Yeah,
going on. It was just like really chilled. And 2001 hit. We all thought, oh shoot, we're gonna be gone. They didn't deploy
mhm.
us until 2 years later. So
Okay, yeah, yeah, that's
it's
when
like,
things
we have
were
to
really.
wait.
Yeah, wow. That was an intense time, I
It
bet.
was. It was. It was a very intense time because, you know the young me was just like, wow, what's going on? And then especially when you get orders telling you you're going off to the combat zone, you're just like, wow. And I was an early party, so I got sent out there early and had a lot of time to think about everything.
Yeah, really. And how old were you?
When I was over there, let's see, because I turned 22 there. So yeah, I was like 21, 20, 21 when I think we
Yeah.
got called out, and then turned 22. And I was getting ready to get out. I mean, a lot of guys got stop lost that year. So it's
What
kind
does
of
that
tough.
mean?
Stop loss means that you can't get out. You
Okay,
cannot
yeah.
get out of the military, especially if you have the 4 years active, 4 years inactive.
Mhm.
Only way you would be able to do it is if you were out of your inactive contract. But so I saw a lot of dudes that were getting ready to get out.
Mhm.
They're like, nope, sorry, we got a war to fight.
Oh, okay. That's funny because I was actually talking to this guy. I was waiting at the auto shop and he was talking about the Vietnam War. He was a Marine for 30 years, he said he did.
Ah,
And
bless them, man.
he was talking about he couldn't remember the name of it, but he was saying that people were trying to get out and they couldn't when the Vietnam War came out. That's the word he was looking for.
That's what it is. Stop loss. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
funny.
I'm only familiar with it because it happened during my time. I watched guys have to go and they got orders instead of their papers to get out, they got orders to go overseas. So
That is so scary, especially if you have a family and you were expecting to get out, or maybe you had a job lined up. I can't even imagine that stress that would put on.
well, the Marines always had a saying in there: if they wanted you to have wife and kids, they would have issued you them.
Oh,
And
I believe. Yeah, I've heard that one.
yes, they're like when you get orders, like, well, my kid's gonna be born. Okay, well, your wife's got them, right? You're like, "Oh," you know what I mean? Like, that's how it was for a lot of guys. I know a lot of guys
Mhm.
who missed out on their child's birth or a large portion of the first year of their life, because duty called, man, and then it was time to go.
Exactly. That's why I made my husband get out. Uh, and I was just like, because he had already had a daughter, and he had shore duty, and then he was thinking about reenlisting to go to sea duty. I was just like, nope, I'm not doing
Well,
this.
so you're okay, so you married someone who's in the military as well, huh? What branch?
Yes. Yeah, he was Navy.
Navy as well,
As
okay.
Yep, yeah, and he got out
Yeah,
after 8 years, and that's when I was like, all right.
yeah, it is rough. I mean, more than anybody being in the military. So being the spouse of someone who's in, how what all that transpires to, especially whenever they get orders. Sometimes, especially in the Navy. Was he on the ship a lot or no?
Yeah, so when we met, he was on sea duty, and then I got out, and then he got orders up here to Maryland, where we are now. And he was on a carrier his whole first enlistment. He did 2 deployments. So yeah, I was like, there's no way. Do you really want to go back to a ship? And he's like, you're right. And he was actually about to reenlist. And then the day before, they took away the bonuses for reenlistments. And I was like, it's a sign. Just don't do it. Like, it's
Right.
not worth it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Even the money sometimes it's just not. It sounds great, when they flash that money at you. And then when you're in the situation and the money's gone, you're like, well,
Yep.
was that good or not? You know. But
Yeah.
well, that's crazy. And so he's out now and he's got a job and stuff too now, and that's cool.
Yeah, and he got lucky. So as soon as he got out, he was looking around the base. He worked there, and he went into this office because he had to. And it was a tunnel where they test different types of ammunition or whatever they do. And he was like, hey, how would I get a job here? And they were like, well, you're lucky because we're hiring. So he was able to get a job right away, and it was really good pay. uh, and he's been going to college, so it took him 7 years, and was it 9 years it took him, and he finally graduated this year. So now he's doing what he loves.
Great.
Yeah, and he works with environmental science. So
Yeah, good for him. Shoot. That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, that's that, man. I appreciate both of you guys for serving. I mean, my gosh, you know, I'm sure your daughters are definitely learning about the Navy stuff, huh? I mean, or do you guys kind of disconnected from that life and stuff? Did you guys obviously met through the Navy? I mean, being in the
Yeah.
same unit.
Yeah, he was on the ship with me, and I didn't meet him until the last port visit. And I just kind of we were all at this party, and we were like at a bar, and it was really there was so many people in there because it's a whole ship that's on this little town in Greece. And I was like, let's go outside. And me and my friend and him went to another bar, and we walk in, and there was a whole British football team sitting there, and they whistled at me and my girlfriend. And he like yelled at them. He was drinking. He yelled at them like, "Hey, leave those girls alone!" And they just came up and knocked him out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was so
Dang, okay. This is
he had
good.
yeah, he had a black eye, he was bleeding, his friends came and got him and hit him because you could get in trouble by shore patrol for fighting, and I didn't even get his last name or anything, so I didn't see him the rest of the deployment, and we came home about 6 months later. We were back in the States, and I was at a going away party for a mutual friend, and I saw him, and we've just been together ever since.
You're like, you're that guy that got knocked out? I'm the girl that you were the reason why. That's
Yep.
crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, what a crazy story. And what's even crazy is you guys just making, connecting again. That's crazy.
It it really was because he was, after that, he was married, and he was going through a divorce through the deployment, and then he was dating someone else, and I was dating someone else, but the time we met, we actually were both single, and it just worked out. It was God's timing.
That is awesome. Yeah, that sounds great. What a story. What a story.
Yes.
What a
Yeah.
story to tell the daughters one day.
I know, right?
Yeah, we met. Uh, well, let's switch it up a little bit and start talking kind of about what you got going on now.
Yeah, so when I got out, I started going to school, and I'm in the DC area. So I was like, all right, I'm interested in politics. I love um, public affairs, anything like that. And so I did an internship in Congress, and I did it at the House Committee on Veterans Affairs. And it just really got me passionate and opened up my mind to all of the things that are going on in the veteran community and all the veteran politics, how much we are affected by policy and whatnot, and how that works, how it's created. And I wanted to go that route. I wanted to be an intern and then end up working for an office, but they don't get paid well. And I was kind of discouraged by just the politics of it and how people would rather argue than put the veterans first, or stuff like that. So I came home and the pandemic hit, and I just wanted a way to reach out to my friends and help them and see how we could share resources and information on benefits. So I just threw everybody in a Facebook group, and now that group is called the Millennial Veterans, and it's just kept growing ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so inside that group, what do you guys kind of do?
So we have a few different chats, and you can there's a benefits chat, there's a give and get support chat if anybody's feeling just need someone to talk to and somebody's awake. We always have people reach out at about 1 a.m. and someone's like, hey, I'm awake, what's up? We have a sobriety and recovery chat for those who are trying to quit a certain substance or just get a better handle on it, which a lot of us veterans have dealt with or are dealing with. And there's a I'm trying to think what else, chat. Oh, I think that's my older link.
Well, right here on here.
Yes, I think that's my older link. How did you find that?
This is on your when I looked it up, it's your
Is it
flow
on?
page. This was on your Facebook, I think, and then it brought me to this flow page.
Oh man, I gotta update that. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. Well, hey, at least we got it. Now we know.
Yes. Yeah, I wonder if anyone still tries to sign up on that link because I don't even have it.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, and so
Second.
we have a lot of daily questions, and questions are really special to me because I do a lot of journaling and I like to do prompts and just help me reflect on everything. And that's how I eventually came to the creation of the Veteran Workbook, which is a tool to help you reflect on your service, plan for your future, recreate structure in your life, and just kind of figure out what you want in this next chapter of life.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, that's the flow page that you can go on. And then let's talk about the Veteran Workbook.
All right.
Let me bring that up.
Yeah, it's available on Amazon. I made it as cheap as you could just because I just want the most veterans to get their hands on it. And it's great for anyone who's either about to get out or who's gotten out. I wrote it so it doesn't matter how long it's been since you've transitioned or how long you served. I think everyone could relate to it and get something out of it. And just kind of I think it's fun to reflect on your service and figure out what has changed, because when we get out we're always like, what's next, what are you doing now, what's your career now, instead of, wait, what did you just go through, how has that changed you in terms financially, what are you doing about your health care now, all these questions that you really need to stop and consider. um, and and yeah, I've gotten a lot of good feedback on it. We're actually doing a challenge right now in the group if anybody wants to join, where we're just going through the workbook daily and kind of talking about it with one another. It's pretty cool to see how honest some of these people are with their questions, because we get pretty deep.
Nice. Well, that's good. I mean, it's good to be transparent. You know what I mean? There's so much we can learn from transparency. And people
Yes.
telling their stories and because and sometimes we're not always proud of our stories, but like I said, there's so much you can learn from other people, and I think that so many times that we find ourselves not talking about it, and that's great. This sounds like a way of kind of ice breaking the situation as well. Because I mean, I've been able to be on the Contagion Effect show with Mike and Eric, and we've gone through. They've gone through the workbook. I've joined, and one time he was asking questions through the workbook, and we were kind of working through it as a group. So it was making us have to think, and think about things that you don't normally think about. So I did like that part. It's definitely a great guide to bring out things that probably want to talk about, need to talk about, don't know how to talk about.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I love those guys. They surprised me when I came on with asking questions. And and yeah, I love how you said it's an icebreaker, because it really is. And it took me years to be able to talk out loud to someone else. So I think this is a great way to be able to talk to yourself about it and just kind of find the words yourself. And then maybe you'll feel more comfortable to talk to someone else about it.
Right, and I mean, you know what? I think it's a good thing to challenge yourself to talk about things, because there's a lot of us that don't want to, or we want to. A lot of us were taught not to talk about things or to kind of departmentalize it, what do they say? Compartmentalize it, whatever the heck. I can't use the word, but we definitely put it in a different file and don't really, just kind of put it there, versus kind of go through it and insert, and something I've kind of learned through the whole podcasting world is learning to start talking about it, be more transparent, especially in the men's world where guys have a hard time saying good job to each other. commending one another, or just things of that nature. We sometimes we see our brothers and sisters doing a great job, but the pride in us or whatever can't say great job, I love it, man, you're doing good, keep on going. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I think that I'm trying to get to that level and starting to try to break that ice with a lot of people as well through the podcast, because I think we need to change that a little bit, and it will help our younger generations as well. Let them know that we got to find that good happy medium of how to deal with our feelings, because you can go really far one way and real far the other way, either way, if we don't deal with it properly.
Yes. Yeah, that's so true. And it's hard. Actually, podcasting is such a great way to bring that out of people and have these long form conversations and really get all sides of a story or emotions of a story. So that and that's it's a great way to connect with people too. And you got to be honest, and if you're going to be going on a podcast, you got to be vulnerable and be yourself, otherwise people will just see right through it and they won't really connect with you, right?
Exactly. And I think that's what we're all looking for. And I don't know, I think so many people in general feel that they got to be a certain way, act a certain way for people, instead just like, hey, love yourself, be yourself. Because I mean, I think the most liberating thing is in the world is when you start to live for yourself. And I'm not saying be selfish like, such a way, but I'm saying live for yourself, because now you're going to be better for everybody else as well. You know what I mean? You got to make that time for yourself. But
Yeah.
so what inspired you to write the veteran workbook and stuff like that? What kind of just brought you there? Like, you know what? I need to do this, and this is the way I want to do it. And what kind of brought you that whole full circle?
I had been doing vet chats for I think 2 years then. So I have people on IG Live every Sundays at 9, and I was noticing the same kind of patterns that people were struggling with through transition. So I started writing down ideas and kind of that would bring me to questions to ask in the Facebook group. And I noticed what ones they were most responding to, what really brought out a lot of either emotions or other talking points, because a lot of things led to another. So I wanted to make a journal and put them all together and just help others reflect it and help the veteran write the story.
That's great. So now yourself, did you deal with a lot of mental health? I mean, like PTSD and stuff like that, getting out, and has the workbook help you deal with all that kind of stuff as well? I mean, and start to, work through things that maybe you have gone through.
Yes, yeah, I'm doing the workbook myself, and it's funny because I forgot I wrote some of that stuff. I'm just like, "Oh, wow, like, all right, I guess I gotta go here now." Because writing it was fun to ask the questions, but actually answering the questions, it's like, "Okay, here we go. Let's go down this path." And I was in such denial for a long time, especially through my military, um, while I was in the service. And so now I feel like I'm getting to that point where I can be more honest and I have to be more real because I have 3 little girls that are looking to me, and they're I don't always have to be strong, but I always have to try to be the best I can, and by doing that, sometimes you have to admit that you're not perfect, you struggle, you have issues, but you can get help, and it doesn't mean that you're weak or not a good mom because you need help. It's normal, and you're not always gonna need the help, so, it's helped me a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we got to be advocates for our children, and be able to teach them and educate them things, and that sometimes we have to be transparent and come to realizations about our lives and things we've gone through, you know. And I think each generation owes it to the next generation to give them a better world, and so I think it's in our due diligence to educate our kids and talk to them, back in the day, a lot of it was go figure it out on ourselves, which,
Mhm.
to a degree, that's okay, because you do got to go out there and learn on your own. But what better way to go out there with a whole set of tools in your toolbox and go out on your own? You know what I mean? So why we got our children and we got them under our wings and stuff like that, and they're our kids, and because once they leave, they become their own and do their own thing. But why we
Mhm.
have them, it's best that we try to give them as much tools that they can have, so when they get into those situations out in the real world, they can be like, oh, you know what? They told me this, and this is, maybe it gives them a conscience and when they get into situations.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so important because you want them to still go out and make mistakes and figure things out on their own, but they'll still you can still give them tools and give them that form of communication and show them healthy relationships and healthy friendships and healthy dependence on things. So, yeah, that's really cool how you said that. I like that.
Well, I really enjoy my watching my daughter grow into a lady. Like she just turned 19 yesterday. Um, and so she just makes me so proud in how she carries herself. She was home during the summertime. Uh, she had summer break, and a lot of her friends aren't, like off to college. A lot of them are still home and doing their thing. She wanted to kind of reconnect with them and stuff like that. And I think she just realized a lot during the summer break about herself, about her friends, about just and I just the decisions and stuff that she makes. It just really impresses me at her age that she's so responsible and like doesn't want to go party because I know like at her age, you know, I was like, where's the clubs? Like give me a fake ID, like
Yes.
boom, boom, we're going to TJ this weekend. Like, I was just, having a good old time. But I see my daughter, 19 years old, and she's just very headstrong and she's I feel she makes me proud because there's things that I see her doing and choices she's making. I'm like, she reminds me of me now. Like, it's just good. It's fun watching her do, make some decisions. And even my wife's like, gosh, dang, she's really becoming like you. I was like, not a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, make sure you tell her that you're proud too. I'm
oh,
sure
I
you
always
do.
absolutely. I actually texted her yesterday. I mean, I always give her a hard time when, she's home and staying with us. But, once she leaves out the door, it's an automatic. I miss her. And I'm like, ugh. And the other thing, the realization with her is I felt like this past summer, because it was her first year of college. So she had her summer off. Now she's on her second year. I feel like the second year is going to get way more busy. I don't think she's going to have a summer like she did this last summer.
Mhm.
She got to kind of come home and enjoy her time. She did some babysitting and stuff like that to earn a little bit of extra money, because that's another thing. She's just, she's a hard charger. She's out there doing it. I mean, she's taking advantage of the, being a veterans, kid. She gets help and stuff for the VA and stuff, but a lot of stuff she's got to do on her own, and she's out there always wanting to get herself a job and you know managing. She's trying to go into medical too, so that stuff's just
Yeah.
like, ooh. But yeah, but I'm just saying, it's nice when you see your kids and you kind of giving them some toolbox, and now they're out there being adults, and then you're
Mhm.
watching them make decisions. It kind of makes you just feel proud, like, ah, yeah, all right, cool. Like she's taking good of the. And then I got other kids out there that just take my tools and throw them out, and you know, hopefully they'll gather them up later. But you just never know. Personality between kids, it's you can raise them all the same way, but their personalities can take them in different paths and directions.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm scared about that because, I'm always worried one's just gonna be like, "Ah."
Now,
But,
what's the age span on there? How old are they all?
so
Well,
my oldest, she's my stepdaughter, she's 8, and then I have a 5-year-old, and then I have a 2-year-old.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, you got the span. Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Do
and
they
they're
get along
there's
well or they fight often?
they get along really well, and
Great.
especially, my stepdaughter, she comes every other weekend and sometimes longer in the summer, and they just adore her. She is their role
The big,
model.
yeah, big sis. I know how that.
Yes.
Yep, that's awesome.
I'm
All
I'm
right,
so
Jenna. Well, is
grateful.
there anything else you want to share with us?
I think that's it. If you're interested in joining our Facebook group, also Instagram, that's where I'm most active. I post a lot of stuff over there. So yeah.
All right, cool. Well, like I said, I appreciate you coming on, sharing your experiences with us, and ran into nothing but technical difficulties this morning, but we got through it. Gosh, dang! If there's a will, there's a way. We get through it, right?
Hell yes.
All right. Well, like I said, I appreciate you coming on and taking the time, talking about your experiences, talking about the workbook. I'm definitely going to share this with everybody and get it out there, and hopefully, we'll have a whole bunch of people with the veteran workbook in their hands. And I know I'm going to pick up a copy and check it out myself as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. It was so much fun chatting with you and coming on and sharing my story. I really appreciate you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, wait, one more thing. Now, are you planning on writing any more books? Or can we expect anything coming out in the future? I'm sorry, I didn't ask that. Now I was thinking about it because I was like, oh, I'm gonna have you probably on again, and hopefully we'll be talking about another book or something. What do we got?
Yeah, yeah. So I already have a few outlined for the second one, but I'm really gonna focus. I got to give this one at least 2 years where I can focus on it and maybe really make it bigger and get it out there. But yeah, I love writing, so I'm already starting on the second one.
Oh yeah, see, once you start, man, it's like you can't stop, right?
It's a healthy addiction.
That's awesome. All right, cool. All right, well, thank you once again, and enjoy your day, and have a great week.
Thank you. You as well.
See you, Jenna.
Bye.
Bye. All right, friends and fam. Well, that wraps up another great interview. You guys go check out the Veteran Workbook on Amazon. Let me show that once again. I will see if I can share that with you guys. There it is. Go check it out. Paperback. It is only $9.99. Come on, that's nothing. And who knows? I've gone through a little bit with Eric, and there was definitely some questions in there. I was like, wow, that really makes you have to think about some things. So definitely something really cool to go check out. And also, if you're interested, check out her Facebook, the Millennial. Um, let me see what it's called. The Millennial Veterans. Make sure you go check that out as well. And till next time, guys, we'll see y'all on the flip side. Err.